Davinci Resolve is the best software to make anime edits in. However, 90% of the community don't even know the new tricks for making high quality videos. So in this series, I'll be teaching you AMV basics professionally. My name is Yari, aka Clout VFX. I have over 8 years of experience in editing. I use Davinci Resolve for everything, from short films to commercials, my thumbnails, 3D modeling, and even CGI. So when I say you can use Davinci Resolve for anything, I mean it. I'm gonna teach you the basics of making anime edits, or AMVs, as of 2025. Let's get into it. Let me show you the proper way of making a new project. Right click on the media pool, click new bin, and make this new bin called timeline. Go into that bin, right click here, create new timeline. We're gonna make 2 timelines. We're gonna make one called raw, then we're gonna make another one called main edit. And I'm gonna click on master again, new bin, and call it clips. So for organizational purposes, all the clips go into the clips bin. We edit the source clips inside of the raw timeline. So that's where we do the clip selection, the prepping, all that. And then after we prep the clips, we put those into the main edit timeline. All right, let's continue. If you'd like to find raw anime clips, koanime.com is a really good site, along with animeclips.online. You can use whatever resource on Discord as well to find raw anime clips to make an edit. I'm going to be using a clip from Evangelion 2.0. So let me download this and let's get to work. So we're back in Davinci. Go into your Windows File Manager, make a new folder for your AMV, and then put your clips inside of that folder. And then drag those clips into the clips folder that you made inside Davinci Resolve. This makes it extremely easy for organizational purposes, especially if you're sharing projects files with friends. All right, let's get to editing. Make sure you have the raw timeline selected. You could also go to the top right here and select between each timeline. So I'm going to go into the raw timeline and drag in the raw clip. First thing we're going to do is go to timeline, detect scene cuts, and Davinci Resolve will easily cut between every single scene, so I could just select between them. And then I can use the up and down arrow keys to preview each scene. So this scene right here where the character is looking at the camera looks pretty nice, so I think I'm going to select this one. All right, let's get rid of the other clips. I'm going to highlight and press the delete key, and highlight the rest, press delete. And I'm also going to uncheck the link box right here and delete the audio. So now we're only working with just the clip. So we'll be converting this clip to 4K 300 FPS. Let's do this. Oh, this will take ages if you don't have proper keybinds for this. So I highly recommend going into the description and downloading the keybinds that I got. If you go to the top left corner, keyboard customization, click these 3 dots. You can import my keybinds as a preset, or you can make your own and type in split. You can set the keystroke to whatever you want. This is pretty much how you make cuts in Davinci Resolve. I didn't like doing Control \, especially because I'm on a smaller keyboard, so I set it to tab. So in order to get that super slow motion look, we need to cut out the dead frames of the footage. So that pretty much means every single time the footage changes on the screen, that's where we cut. So I'm going to make one cut here. It moved there, so I'm going to cut again. And then I'm going to use my right arrow key and just nudge over until I see the scene change again. All right, nice. So just to check that I have all my dead frames right, if you use the up and down arrow keys again, if you go through all of these clips, every single frame should be different. There should be no duplicate frames. If I were going through, there was a duplicate frame and I went forward, there would be no movement between the clips and it would look choppy. So you just want to make sure that there are no duplicate frames. So everything looks good. I'm going to highlight all the clips, press Control D, click on frames, set duration to 1, and press change. Then I'm going to go to the edit tab and press delete gaps. Now I have my clip with the Deadframes completely cut out. Let's compound clip this by pressing C, and let's name it Evan clip 1. Now, once that's in a compound clip, I'm going to right click again, press render in place, change it to MP4 H.265, render at source resolution. Then I'm going to go to the folder that I made before. So then when I open up my project folder, I should have the raw clip and then the rendered clip. I'm gonna rename this to raw. So now the next step is getting Flowframes. If you don't have Flowframes installed, I highly recommend joining my Discord server, clicking on the Flowframes 1.4 and downloading that file. All you have to do is unzip and extract it. And I assume you know how to use computers, so I think you don't really need a tutorial on this part. Once Flowframes is opened up, I'm gonna go to the interpolation tab, browse for the video. This is where I'm going to put in my project folder, click on the raw clip. Then I'm going to click this browse folder button and select it. And it's just putting everything inside of the project folder again for good organization. So now where it says output FPS and speed, this is where we're going to make the changes. The original FPS is 24 FPS. And if we put this on times 10, we can change that 24 FPS to 240 FPS. However, you can go even higher than times 10. My favorite number is 300, so I like putting in 300 FPS. And then for format, set it to H.265 NVIDIA encoding, and then click interpolate. Now we sit back and wait for the clip. Okay. We're done with that. Open up Topaz Video AI. If you don't have Topaz, again, that's on my Discord server. Make a new project. And then I'm going to drag the 300 FPS clip into Topaz. And I have a preset called anime here. All it is just it sets it to 4K. All you have to do is copy my parameters here. So it does all that stuff. Keep everything else on default settings and press export as. I'm going to rename this to Evan Clip 1 4K 300 FPS. Press save, and now we wait. If I click on export queue, it says it's going to take 52 seconds. And again, if you don't have Topaz, or maybe you have an outdated version of it, you can go to my Discord server, click on the Topaz AI pack, and get the latest version here. All right. And we're done. So now I have the Evangelion clip at 4K and 300 FPS. Let's open Davinci Resolve back up and drag it on top. And now if I play the video, I have that super crisp 4K 300 FPS slow motion that I really love. So now I'm going to go back to my timelines and go into the main edit. Going to go into the effects panel and get my fusion composition. And I'm going to make my fusion composition like 1 second, doesn't matter. Then open Infusion page, get your 4K 300 FPS clip. And with media in 1 selected, press shift and space, type in TST. And that's called time stretcher. So pretty much what we're going to be doing here is called time remapping. So if you're coming from After Effects, what this part of the tutorial is called time remapping. If you have no idea what that is, it's pretty much speed ramping and just changing the speed of the clip so it looks really clean and flows with your edit. So this bar in the middle is how we're going to scrub through all the frames of our video. So go to the first frame of the clip, and if we have the time stretcher node selected and it's on the source time of 0, nothing happens in the rest of the clip. And that's because we need to make a keyframe and change the source time based on where our little tick mark is. So I want the clip to start kind of right as she begins to open her eyes. So like right here. And then I'm going to go all the way to the end and drag the source time towards when she opens her eyes. Then I'm going to open up the spline graph right here. Click on source time, hold Control A, and then move this Bezier curve up and make a nice little graph. All right, I have a graph that I like. 90% of the work that you're going to do for AMVs is going to be inside of the Fusion page, especially if you're doing special effects. The only reason why you'd use the edit page is to make the layout of your edit and to do clip selection and to prep your clips. After you've done all that, everything else is going to be inside of the Fusion page.
So if you don't really know what a node is or how any of those work, I highly recommend going to Resolve Essentials or Casey Ferris, or maybe joining the Davinci Resolve Discord server, and that will get you familiar with how the nodes work. And you can also go to the Davinci Resolve training page and have a free course there, and that will give you a full crash course on how the nodes work in Davinci Resolve. Now, pretty much everyone that I see on Davinci Resolve has some really messed up settings when it comes to this Fusion interface. So here are some key changes I want you to make before you start your first AMV. Go to Fusion and Fusion settings. Go down to splines and click on Auto Smooth Splines right here. Go to Spline Editor, check Independent Handles, Auto Snap Points, turn the guides on, and make sure auto scales on fit. Go down to user interface. In this grab distance here, crank that all the way up to 20, and then go to the flow setting, turn on active tile pictures, turn on arrange to grid, arrange to connected, auto arrange, scroll down and turn up the pipe grab distance all the way, the link grab distance all the way, and then leave everything else on default settings. This is going to help you a lot for when you're changing your graphs. It makes everything a little bit easier to click on. And to be honest, I kind of wish these were on by default, but they're not. Next, I'm going to post a link online to this website, We Suck Less. I want you to install the latest installer for Reactor and run that in Davinci. In order to do that, you just grab the .lua file and drag that into the empty node space right here and press install and launch. Once Reactor is completely installed, press Ctrl Shift in space and type in Open Reactor, and make sure you select the one that says Open Reactor and nothing else. And then once you're here, type in nuke and the number 2 and make sure you have the on all, and then select the plugin called Nuke to Fusion. This plugin is really helpful, and it gives you keybinds for the Fusion page. And feel free to go through Reactor and download any effects that you think might help you in the future, like FUI. I've made some videos on that, or the Vonk toolset, which is also really cool. So the main keybinds that I want you to remember: so left click to select the node, and then T for transform, G for brightness and contrast, A for matte control, C for color corrector, W for saver, and R for loader, and M for merge. Other helpful keybind is X for solid or background. Once you learn these keybinds, it will make navigating through Fusion a lot easier. If you want to put a node after another node, all you have to do is select it. So if I want a transform node after the time stretcher, I would click on the time stretcher and it would just automatically place it after that. Or if I wanted a transform node before the time stretcher, I'll click media in, since that comes before it, and press T on that. Another extremely helpful plugin is called Resolve Essentials. Make sure you give that a download. Go to Workspace, and then Resolve Essentials will appear right here. So that way you can go through your folders. So press Show Folders and Show Macro Folder. Now I just checked, I have 529 different macros for Davinci Resolve. So if you're starting out and this folder is empty, you should probably start filling it up with some macros. You're going to need this macro pack of 157 free macros. So if you want to donate, you can, but make sure you download this and join the Discord server that's put here in the description. This will put you in the Serenity Discord server, which is amazing for AMV YouTubers and creators, and you can get a lot of help there. Once you downloaded all of those macros, if you press tab and type in Ekawa, you should have all of these amazing presets. So if I want to do something like easy offsets, I could easily get an offset framer that you can use, like Ekawa warps, Ekawa framers. There's stuff in here for CC. So there's Ekawa CC. Then there's Ekawa effect, Ekawa shake. Make sure you give this a download. It's extremely helpful. Now, let's say, for example, I'm using Ekawa Light Leak and I have this weird resolution error right here where it's like a box. That's happening because my footage is in 4K
and the preset is set to the automatic resolution set by the background node. So in order to change that and fix that problem, you go to timelines, right click on the main edit, timeline settings, uncheck use project settings, and make sure the timeline resolution is 4K, and that will resize everything and the preset will end up working. So now I have delicious looking light leaks. All right, that concludes part 1. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe.